Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishna Gittin, Parak Tes, Chapter 9, Mishnah Beis, Mishnah 2. Today's Mishnah is sponsored by the Garland children, Zecha Nishmas, remember their uncle, Gavriel ben Moshe Nachum, the Neshama Shavan Aliyah.
Amen.
Okay, so yesterday's Mishnah was talking about if a person makes a stipulation when giving his wife a get that she can marry anybody but a certain person, and that was considered an invalid get. And you can't make, if you make that kind of a tanai, it invalidates the giving of the get. And if you wrote it inside the get itself, it would invalidate the document itself. Mm-hmm. Now here, our Mishnah is about to talk about a case where he made a stipulation, and he said you're, again, permissible to everyone except. But the excepts in this Mishnah are people she can't marry anybody. She can't marry anyway. Even if she'd have a regular 100% kosher get, she still couldn't marry those people. And that's the people that he stipulates those are the people he stipulates in his giving of the get that she can't marry them. What's that going to do to the get? So let's read the Mishnah. Hareyat muteres l'chaladim. He says to her, you are permissible to any person, ella except la'abo lavicha, to my father or to your father, la'achi ulachicha, to my brother or to your brother, le'eved u'lenachri, to a slave or to a non-Jew, l'chol mi she'ein la'alav kiddushin, or to anybody that cannot perform kiddushin on her. Kosher, the get's kosher. Meaning in all these cases, he stipulated, his condition was he can't marry all these people who don't even have kedushin on her. They can't even make kedushin on her. A person who is a relative who has carries a punishment of karis for marrying her, there's no kedushin there, and therefore, by making the stipulation that the get is a get, it makes you permissible to everyone except for your father. That's nothing, because even if you would have given a get without the condition, she couldn't marry her father. So therefore, there's nothing that's binding her to him through the get that went into bound her anyway. And therefore, in all these cases where there's no kedushin, which means a relative that falls under the category of an erva, means it carries at least a punishment of karis, of premature death, or a slave or a non-Jew who do not have the power to make kedushin. In those cases, if these are the people that he stipulates that he conditions her that she can't marry, it won't have any effect on the get. However, let's say he says like this: Hareyat muteres l'chaladim. You are permissible to any person. Excuse me. Ella almana l'kayin gadol, except as an almana to a kayin gadol. Meaning, he's divorcing her now, right? This is her second time around. The first time she was a widow and she married this guy, and now this guy is divorcing her, and he stipulates and he says that you are permissible to any person except as an almana to a kayin gadol, right? A regular kayin can marry an almana, kayin gadol can't. Mm-hmm. Or gerusha v'chalutza kayin hedyet. You can marry anybody other than as a divorcee or a woman with chalitza to a regular kohen. Mm-hmm. Now these cases are a little bit they're a little bit confusing, mm-hmm, in the sense that if he's divorcing her right now, which he is, right, then I don't care what she was before, whether she was an almana, whether she had chalitza, meaning even if she doesn't have these other reasons that she cannot marry a kohen or a kohen gadol, right now the mere fact that he's divorcing her says that he can't that she can't marry many of these people. But as I bring down here in the notes, typically that whenever we list those women, those situations where women cannot marry, the women who can't marry a kohen, whenever we list them, we list all of them. We list them almana, we list the chalutza, the grusha. But the point here is that in this case, the condition is that she cannot marry a kohen, right? That's the bottom line. Bottom line is he's saying you're permitted to everyone other than a kohen. Okay? Now, in the case here by a kohen, it's very different than the case before about a relative. Because, as we said before, a relative, a close blood relative, anyone that's under the category of an erva that carries the punishment of kares, a slave, A non-Jew, they don't have the power to make Kedushin on her. There is no Kedushin between these people and her. If a Kohen makes Kedushin on a divorcee, is she married to him? Yes, she is. He's not allowed to remain married to her, but the Kedushin is typhus. The Kedushin takes hold. So there is, again, so according to the letter of the law, there is marriage possible, right? You can't stay married, but marriage is possible. So now, in this case, if he stipulates that the get makes her permissible to marry anyone other than a Kohen, right? So what he's trying to say now is that there's no in his condition. If let's say the Kohen would go ahead and makes Kedushin on her, right? He makes Kedushin on her. Is that going to break the get? Certainly is, because he is in his get. He's saying she cannot marry a Kohen, and that's happening now again. Again, if he wanted to make the stipulation and it would have just given her the get without the stipulation, she wasn't allowed to marry a Kohen, but she could marry a Kohen. Yeah. And now with his stipulation, he's trying to make it that she can't even marry a Kohen, because if she marries a Kohen, the get's not going to be a good get. So it's a big difference between the case before. Now, the other examples brought here are Mamzeres and Asina Yisrael. Let's say he's married to a Mamzeres. He is, right? Because there's Kedushin that's it can make Kedushin in Mamzeres. An Asina are from the Canaanites that fooled Yeshua into thinking they were not Canaanites, and they were converted. At the end, it was decreed that they cannot. It was decreed upon them that they became Gerim, but they weren't allowed to marry into a regular Jewish person like a mamzer. So if she was a mamzeres and a sina, and he's married to her, and he says, I'm giving you the get on the condition that you're not going to be able, that you cannot marry a Yisrael, a regular ordinary Jew, or Bas Yisrael mamzer l'nasin. When he makes his condition, he's talking about she's a regular woman, but he says you're mutter to everyone other than to a mamzer or to a nasin. Which again, Kedushin, all these examples, Kedushin will take hold on her from these people, but she's not allowed to stay married to them. Or l'chol mi sheyesh la alav Kedushin, or if he does this to anyone, the condition that he makes is to anyone that that has the power to make Kedushin on her. Afilu ba'aveira, even in sin, meaning even if it is a sin for her to marry that man, however, the Kedushin will take hold, pasal, the get is invalid. Because now what happened is, it does not, now it's invalid because the stipulation of this get makes her unable to become betrothed to everyone that a regular get would. Right? That's the point here. The point here is that any time he makes a condition that if he would have not made the condition, the get would have allowed at least the Kedushin to be made, right? Then now when he says, no, I'm holding back the ability even to make a Kedushin, then that means that she's that even though he gave her a get, she's still bound to him, because the get will become ineffective if she marries any of these people, which really means that he's trying to say to her that you cannot marry any of them. You can't marry them at all. That's what he's trying to say. The condition of the get is that this is your get, and even though the word is muteris, you're permissible to every man, but her point is she is permissible. She's permissible I shouldn't say permissible, but the point of permissible is the fact that she has the ability to be mekudeshes to many people, and if the get wouldn't have had the stipulation, she could have had kedushin to anybody. Now to someone that she cannot be married to, but could have kedushin on, he's trying to stipulate that she cannot have kedushin even with him. Then already that becomes a shear. That becomes she's bound to him. She's still considered bound to him, and therefore the get is not a sefer krisis. It is not a get that completely severs their connection. So in the first case of the Mishnah, where there is no kiddushin possible, so his stipulation is not doing anything. But here, in these cases where kiddushin is possible, and the stipulation is that kiddushin shouldn't even be possible, then already we say that that's considered that she's bound to him still. There's not a complete severance to him with this get. Severance from it, not severance, a complete severing from this man, but through the get, and therefore the get will be invalid. Have a wonderful day. Just want to remind everyone that there will not be Mishnahs tomorrow. A wonderful day and a Freilich and Purim.
Thank you. Where does the